Welcome, friends. This is Archangel. I was a very good little Matrix indoctrinee. I would have made a stellar Agent Smith had I applied for the position. How do I determine such boastful statements? Because I was such a brainwashed agent of gynocentrism. With my pom-poms flailing, I cheerled the vaginisty. I bought into all the hoopla. In fact, I was a purist. I honestly believed, for a time, in female righteousness and benevolence. I swallowed the fairy tales of male vulgarity, that salvation lay at the feet of females. I was fully steeped in male devaluation, which comes, as it always does, at the intolerable cost of obliterating male worth and wonder. I was so female-centered that everything I did had a slanted end goal of female approval, specifically romantic approval in the preferred form of physical affection or touch. Not necessarily sex, but the tender caress or whispers of an enamored lover. Looking back in honest assessment regarding my motives over the years, everything was done with females in mind. If chicks liked a certain haircut, I was there. If females liked certain foods, or congregated certain places, or preferred brand name tinsel on Christmas trees, I was all about it. I followed female magazines more than I did male periodicals, just to keep my finger on the collective female pulse in attempts to try and stay ahead of the curve in order that I might garner female attention and ultimately the holy grail, female approval. It really didn't matter that I didn't keep up with the guy magazines. All they can offer males is the same old cliches: protect, provide, pamper, coddle, and serve. All magazines are really pamphlets of propaganda towards males. Be gentlemen, treat ladies with chivalry, suck it up, man up, soldier up, cowboy up, and protect, provide, coddle, and die for her. Well, right after you hand over your paycheck and move the furniture. My thoughts, my actions, my appearance, my existence revolved around female approval. And thus I was the one exhibiting the chivalry, elevating females to goddess status, divinity level, DEFCON 5. I bought fictional romance and fairy tales. Sadly, I purchased all the malicious male devaluing propaganda. Indeed, I infantilized females as instructed by the traditionalist template, so that I could gird my loins with armor, such that I could sweep in and be the rescuer of these fragile rose petals from the clutches of Y-chromosomed evil, since evil is the natural state of males. Yes, traditionalism creates false dilemma to invoke purpose, namely that females are fragile, delicate, and oh so weak, to the point that males can create purpose to protect these fragile little eggshells from harm or hardship. I devalued my inner worth as a simple human being just to solicit attention from these goddesses on high, perched atop their divine marble columns. Exaltation. I shudder from embarrassment now when I recall some of the utter pathetic displays I have put on over the years, simply begging for female acknowledgement. You know how when you watch someone do something so degrading, so unbearably pitiful, you feel sympathy, embarrassment? You actually feel uncomfortably embarrassed for them? Yeah, well, welcome to most of my life. I was so steeped in female exaltation, so completely sold on my salvation being dispensed by the breasted angels on earth. I was so thoroughly and completely bamboozled into dismissing my worth, my happiness, my relevance as a living creature, to the point that I truly believed in my bones that my existence was balanced upon female approval, that they held the key to my healing or my damned state of horrid misery forevermore. Yeah, believe it. Yet, as time wore on, and as I beat myself into the ground every hour on the hour, with ever-increasing hostility towards myself, because I was failing to attract female benevolence and absolution to my horrid curse as a disgusting, dysfunctional, protruding foreheaded, knuckle-dragging, raping, plundering murderer. Even as all this self-deprecation continued, things were not adding up regarding these female angels incarnate. There was a serious discrepancy between the portrayal of females that I was fed by society and what I actually observed of females on the ground. I saw female malevolence, which was at complete odds with the gynocentric indoctrination I and every other male had stuffed down our throats, to the point where we bought all the man-hating rhetoric and became white knights for the cause of fragile flower protection, a divine purpose bestowed to us from on high. So I tried to rationalize female malevolence. I justified female indifference to male suffering. I shrugged off female manipulation. I justified these things away easily, unconcerned with the glaring discrepancies. Coincidentally, I was apathetic about the pain and suffering of other males. I left fellow brothers to their own misery, as I wallowed in my own torment, a torment bestowed upon me by the male devaluation and disposability birthed from gynocentrism. If there was any goodness in the world, it had to be inherent in females, because they became mothers, charged with caring for young. Since females became mothers, and mothers are the highest calling of humankind, on par with angelic existence, hence females must be angels. If females were angels, then they were righteous. If they were righteous, then they could not embody malice or act with malevolence. Thus the inherent benevolence of womankind would compel them to concern themselves with male suffering. Furthermore, if females were angels, they were divine, and divinity would have no need for manipulation and subterfuge, right? 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Yet this theory did not fare the journey from paper to reality, where I observed females abuse males with impunity. All these things were happily swept under the rug and forgotten as I continued to chase this fantastical, fictional carrot of love and female salvation, dangled just in front of me by a society that needs me to produce and help carry it, whilst I chase bewitching tales of fanciful romance and unicorns. I used to invoke the textbook template for justifying blatant displays of female malevolence and hypergamy, the same justification that all other male drones use to rationalize their pathetic servitude to the vaginisty. When faced with incontrovertible evidence of female malice, the masses are programmed to retort, well, not all females are like that. And so, armed with this exception justification, I marched onwards, defiling myself evermore daily, looking in the mirror and calling myself horrid names, cursing my existence and hating my sex, while I chased the rare unicorn of misandristic legend. I have heaped more scorn and contempt and abuse upon myself over my lifetime than anybody should ever have to endure. I am guilty of mortal attrition of my beautiful soul, as I tortured and broke myself down daily, trying to figure out why I was unworthy of female salvation, and how could I be a better servant and white knight to all of her majesties. I brutalized my inner child so much that it almost broke me, and it is still knee-jerk reaction to look into a mirror and call the face staring back at me a putrid, worthless pile of crap that should do humanity a favor and choke on a lead sandwich. This is what I had been telling the man in the mirror for dozens of years on end without a break. No vacations. People will offer their armchair diagnosis all day long. Oh, you were depressed, or you were this, or you were that, you were bipolar, schizophrenic, etc. But this is textbook deflection and shaming tactics by a gynocentric hive mind. I was and am completely lucid, cogent, and mental disease free. I have no mental defect. In fact, I am quite alive and vital with clarity of thought. But before, like all males, I was mired in doubt and confusion. And, like all males, I am beautiful and perfect. Yet I have had depression and dysfunction thrust upon me by gynocentrism. Males drive themselves bonkers trying to serve and please the deity of utter salvation, females, with our burnt offerings of protection and provision and humble prostration of ourselves before these insatiable goddesses. Except for a handful of males, all males are driven mad by service to females after being told we are incomplete, unwhole, and inherently evil. No, I was not suffering some latent mental defect. I was simply another twisted product of bigoted, criminal indoctrination from a flagrantly gynocentric species. I was a zealot, lashing himself on the back with a cat of nine tails, while reciting holy chants in offerance to his divine deity, the deity of all men, the divine feminine. So no, not damaged, just brainwashed. If my experience is anything like that of the typical male, I am acutely aware of how miserable and heartbroken the average male really is. I am aware of the abhorrent acts of degradation that go on when they look in the mirror and assess themselves and their worth. I know, believe me, I know, and I will not abide such deplorable and reprehensible abuse of such a wondrous and amazing sex any longer. I realized why the brainwashed masses and drones beat themselves down. I empathize with the self-deprecation constantly running in the minds of manginas and white knights, and I understand why they abuse other males. I get it. I don't condone it, but I understand it. I was there, entrenched in the matrix of male disposability, as entrenched as every other worker drone surrounding me. I am keenly aware of how core to male existence female approval actually is, to the point where they desire it more than life itself, as evidenced by suicide statistics. When males feel they cannot garner approval from females, or have lost the approval of a single particular female, then they conclude that they have nothing to live for, and so they step off that ledge. Because I am intimately familiar with the cruel tainting of male spirit and worth by a bloodthirsty gynocentric collective, I have a fervor to rescue males, to steal away slaves from the vaginisty. It was not a single event that woke me to reality. It took the mass culmination of many years of torture and heartache. People try to justify my crazy conspiracy theories of misandry with, "Oh, you must have been hurt." You see, the indoctrinated need to rationalize why any heterosexual male would purposefully retreat and refuse relations with females, refuse the blessings of benevolent goddesses. Yeah, hurt by my high school sweetheart. Nope, I simply observed females' behavior over my entire life and then formed hypotheses based upon my observations. Silly me for invoking the scientific method in regards to anything female. That silly logic and reason left brain male thinking, introspection. Finally, critical mass was reached, and I could no longer dissuade the truth. I ran out of logical or compassionate excuses for why females treated males with hatred and disgust. I could not write off the female entitlement to male labor as disposable utilities. I could no longer comfortably fall asleep, contented with seeing our omnipotent, benevolent angels treating males like dollar store toilet paper. Oh, believe me, I have tried for years to explain away the Black Widow's predation upon males. Oh, she didn't mean to cannibalize him. It was an accident. She really is altruistic and compassionate somewhere, deep down. She has to be. She's female, isn't she? It wasn't so much my experiences that woke me up, but watching the experiences of males everywhere meeting the same misery I was privy to, watching the misery and torment of other males at the hands of females, seeing the heartache and manipulation of kind-hearted, romantically naive males being used and manipulated for everything, then chucked into the trash. I observed the lengths of insanity to which males are driven over females, turning their backs on their family, friends, even kids, uprooting and moving anywhere in the world, changing everything about themselves, their thoughts, interests, beliefs, over and over and over again to suit her daily changing whims. No act of criminality or moral offense is off limits when a male is chasing his salvation through females. Slowly, but oh so surely, after observing behaviors and ramifications of males bearing broken hearts, bodies, and spirits at the hands of the female sex, I came to accept reality over Disney. Long story short, I finally see the obvious staring me in the face. The Black Widow meant to eat the male. It's her nature. It's not a fluke, nor an anomaly. She meant to cannibalize him all along. He was simply a means to an end for her, and projections of benevolence upon her did not change her self-centered, opportunistic nature. Nor did my fanciful projections of righteousness upon her nature mitigate the damage she willingly wrought upon the male. In hindsight assessment, I find that it's not abstinence from actual females that is so tough. I now recognize them as Cheshire cats, seeking predation upon me, actresses practicing their art by feigning concern for me and male kind. No, I really can't stomach most females. You push the right buttons on any female, and you will see the cruel, sadistic demon come flying out to replace the sweet smile and fluttering eyelashes. Rather, I find, as most males do, that the hardest part of the red pill awakening is giving up on the fairy tales. My Waterloo is surrendering all hope of the idea of romance and the mythical unicorn that may someday bring it. Giving up on the idea of romantic love and affection outside the movie theater has proven tenacious, more than anything I've ever known. It's obscene the amounts of time and money I have wasted trying to bring the fictitious yarn of romantic love into three-dimensional consensual reality. I have wasted so many opportunities, so much vitality of life, because I lacked the permission of females to enjoy myself. I used to buy random jewelry and clothes and trinkets and baubles in hopes that some female would appreciate these items one day. I have bought entire wardrobes of clothes and mothballed them, thinking I would wear them on dates or vacations or special occasions with that someone special. I have bought endless amounts of clothes and put them directly into storage, never to even wear them until I had that someone special to wear them for. I have remodeled various domiciles to suit female tastes, according to what Cosmo was proffering at the time, just to be ready for some special female to come along. I always tried to keep my places super clean, not because I wanted to, but just in case a female happened to come over. I always kept a bottle of wine on my fridge for years, just in case a female came over and I needed to be classy and romantic on the fly. I have always tried to have a super nice lifted bed with fancy sheets and comforters and extra pillows so a female may feel special, cozy, and comfortable. I have bought so many things and tucked them away into obscurity in anticipation of female affection. I bought a hot tub I have never used, thinking I would fire it up and enjoy it with someone special. I have bought innumerable cars and trucks with females in mind, multi-purpose vehicles, so I could provide utility to females and move her stuff, and sports cars so I could take them out in style. My most recent was a Land Rover, damn near a Taj Mahal on wheels. I bought this thinking I would impress and take out females in this pimp wagon. It sat like everything else and deteriorated due to neglect. I started it maybe once a year, possibly twice if my horoscope told me love was on the way. I have bought all kinds of toys, motorcycles, off-road toys, watercraft, planning the fun and romantic interludes that some special female and I would have with them. I bought expensive blankets and elaborate bronze chain velvet-lined picnic baskets while planning romantic picnics on mountaintops. I have never used any of these things. I have turned down countless parties or travel opportunities or social events because I didn't have a female to complete me as a person in the public eye. I felt I could not fully enjoy anything by myself as an incomplete, unwhole, deviant, disgusting, evil male. I needed a female to complete me and to really enjoy anything in life. Thus, I turned down irretrievable opportunities at fun and experience and enjoyment in the company of quality people, rationalizing that when I had one female, that one special, true, loving female, I could accept invitations to enjoy life with others in public or around the world. Moreover, I did not want to go anywhere and have to witness the cutesy little whispers and caresses and secrets between other couples. I felt like I was missing out on life, and I hated being the third wheel as others unintentionally rubbed their courtship antics in my face. It was like a homeless person sitting next to a billionaire watching them count a sinister amount of superfluous money while I longed for 75 cents for a cup of joe. I became almost antisocial. I went out to clubs, and when females acted like I didn't exist, when everybody around me got attention from females, including my friends, when I went home with such a disgust and loathing for myself because I could not win female attention, when I looked in the rearview mirror while driving home from a club and calling myself horrid, vile names, even becoming so disgusted with my appearance that I would slap or straight up hit myself in the face on numerous occasions because I could not win female affection and salvation. After years of such toxic encounters with the hopeful pre-club me, and then driving home with the shameful post-club me, and the vicious scorn and violence heaped upon myself by myself, I eventually learned not to go out anywhere, which at the time was the most compassionate thing I could do for myself. Yes, I must have looked like some version of Fight Club beating myself up, but this was long before I had ever seen the movie. I was not then, nor am I now, mentally deficient. I simply hurt so deeply because females failed me despite my living to receive their attention and approval. And as I have no desire to hurt others, I took out everything on myself. Some people who hurt cut themselves. Some drink. I simply pounded my worth and inner child into the ground as my way to deal with the heartache and sorrow of gynocentrism. Males are not criminal, evil, or dysfunctional by nature. They are fashioned that way by a society that steps all over them, then discards them quicker than shredded top-secret documents. I have wasted so much life, so much time, energy, money, and vitality with nothing to show but a hollowed-out shell of a soul that has nary the wonder nor promise that a little boy once possessed. I have wasted so much life essence on hurting myself because females were not saving me. It wasn't just a matter of finding a female. I was searching for that exceptional confluence of beauty, benevolence, brilliance, and that X factor that would give me the cosmic tingles every time I thought about her. I longed for such a rare, unique unicorn that desired only me in all of the universe. Oh, I was such a hopeless romantic. More to the point, I was such a good little drone for the vaginisty. I was perfectly indoctrinated with romance culture and the female deity template set out by the gynocentric paradigm, a template further inflamed by patriarchy's elevation and worship of females as the prizes of males who behaved and slaved away their life force serving and carrying a culture that propels both these fanciful constructs as the prizes awaiting the devout. I look back at all the waste, all the heartache and all the misery wrought by believing these lies of romance and love, of female benevolence and caring. I am saddened by the deceit that caused me to abstain from life until I had a female to make everything all right, until I had a female to heal the scars thrust upon me and all males, until I had a female to give me her approval that yes, I may enjoy a few moments of my life. Pathetic. I would avoid my favorite foods, movies, even music, telling myself that when I had female validation, then I will live. Then I will taste and breathe and laugh and truly enjoy life. So I have carried on with a gray existence of pleasure denial and materials tucked away for some sun-kissed, divinely ordained day where clouds sang and rainbows wept because I finally found the unicorn I have traversed incalculable hazard to find. Moreover, I would have finally received permission from that special unicorn to actually enjoy life because that unicorn graced my life with value. I finally had value. I lived and concerned myself to a fault with female interests and wants and comforts and preferences. I see now that I only succeeded in hurting and failing the one person who needed me the most, the one person that no female ever really cared about. Me. Moreover, I had abandoned the one male that really ever looked up to me, my brother. He was 3 years my junior, and we were always together during our teenage years. And then I discovered females and began chasing the female carrot whilst blatantly ignoring him. Then, as soon as I could get out of the house, I flew the coop with expeditious economy while he was stuck there. I totally forgot about him as I engrossed myself in nightlife and chasing the female carrot. I was not there when he had brain surgery to remedy a seizure disorder that sprang out of nowhere and hampered his enjoyment of a normal teenage life. Nor was I there a few months later when he lied down on a Sunday afternoon to take his last nap. He was 19 and I was 22, off chasing my unicorn who would remedy my inner pain and hurts. I was too busy looking for romance, for somebody who would actually care for me in a soulmates, star-crossed lovers kind of way that I totally neglected the non-breasted angels. I was so adept at ignoring fun and enjoyment that even now, when I hear a song that I like, my knee-jerk reaction is to turn it off until I can find that unicorn that I'm crazy about, and then I can truly enjoy it. I still have to literally give myself permission to enjoy things. Right now, I have to remind myself that today is all there is. For example, I have always loved that song Party Up by DMX, yet there was no reason for me to enjoy it by myself, unless I was using it to pump myself up before a date, or cruising down the street trying to show off for girls. Now, however, I use all my favorite music to beat my chest and proclaim my male value and independence from gynocentric slavery. I listen to music now as triumph over male devaluation and disposability. Indeed, I may still be disposable in the eyes of society. A female would still get the last parachute over me in a nosediving plane, but I am free of gynocentrism in my mind and in my spirit where it truly matters. So now I blast metal or thump the 12s in my trunk to Ice Cube. This is my middle finger in the air at female nature, gynocentrism, and male disposability. Finally. But my work has just started. Now I choose to help other males. So I continue wrangling the slaughter of male wonder and worth as I oppose the male devaluation and disposability of a gynocentric society. I am simply relaying all this to elucidate to people that I do not preach about male disposability from some elevated, indifferent, holier-than-thou pulpit, because this is some cause of the month that I am trying to cash in on. No, I have lived this misery. I have been there, prostrated before females, begging as if my life depended on it, because it did. I could not see an existence beyond females. In reality, it was simply my identity as a drone of the vaginisty that was in mortal danger if I didn't chase the unicorn of romance and that special Mrs. Right who would be different from all the other females of planet Earth. Yet I, like the brainwashed masses, was ignorant and simply doing as instructed. You are male and deficient. Females are your divine salvation. Ready, set, go! And before we can consider anything, a starter pistol fires and the gates drop as a female image is affixed to a lure which races around a track, pursued by a bunch of brainwashed males beating and tearing each other down, running at full speed to try and catch this false lure. This is male disposability compelled by chasing the female carrot, the female lure racing just out of our grasp as we run full out around the track until we are dead or of no further use to the race, after which we are simply chucked into the trash. This is the life of human males, that of abused greyhounds who chase false lures around a track until they no longer can. Homo sapien males simply chase a different lure, that of romance and salvation through females. Meanwhile, our vitality and life force is drained from us in order to power our methods of demise. The race exists because of us, and others exist because the race exists. So, in order to maintain those who are propped up by the race, we must maintain the races. And in order to maintain the races, we must keep the workhorse racers chasing some lure. Thus, in order to continue existence of a species that exists upon the expendable lives and extraordinary accomplishments of human males, we must keep these males producing, running around the track, and the way to do that is to indoctrinate them with fairy tales of romance and female benevolence, which will keep them running around the track, thus keeping the races and those who depend upon the races alive and well. This is acceptable to the apathetic numbers of people who fill the stands at the racetrack. However, this is unacceptable to me, and I have found my purpose. I am here to defy male disposability and seek liberation of all Y-chromosomed humans. I will now cease pandering to females and labor for males for a change. I will labor to free males from subjugation and disposability. I am awakened and will not be swayed back into the vaginisty. It's hard, I know, believe me, I know, but it is so amazing to find your beauty, your worth, your power, where it has always been, inside you, not in any female. Still, even the toughest, most chest-thumpingest males fall victim to the insidious predation of females. Look at Kanye West. He has a song about gold-digging leeches, and he advises prenups, and what does he do? He marries the most hypergamous, gold-digging, narcissistic, materialistic, self-centered female he could find without a prenup. Really? Even George Clooney, who I thought was undercover MGTOW and smarter than all this marriage nonsense, even he succumbed to the vaginisty via some female. Oh well, he'll learn. Or not. Look at Paul McCartney. There is no shame in admitting weakness or wanting to crawl back into purple pill existence. I understand this. And even when you stumble and fall, just get up and move on. I get it. I was so indoctrinated with incompleteness and female need that nothing mattered in my life unless there was a female around. And the times where there were no females around, I spent preparing and planning for the times females would be around. Everything literally revolved around females, and I know most males are like this. They will not admit their degree of female subjugation or dependence, but the existence of nearly all males revolve around females, period. Luckily, I have had my awakening and would not want to go back through that hell again. So I have empathy for males slowly chewing red pills right now. Most men are oblivious to the depths of their servitude, the depths to which their worth and identity revolve around female approval. I know that to nearly all males, everything in life would be better if attractive females graced their presence. All wrongs could be made right by the mere presence of an attractive female. Indeed, we are made to believe life itself is lackluster in the absence of females. I realize that want of female attention has driven all my decisions in life. Females ignored me in high school. I decided it was because I must be ugly. So I decided to pursue modeling. I'd show them. Of course, passion courted ignorance and drove my decisions. I failed to consider that if I was indeed ugly, modeling may not suit me because, well, usually models are attractive. Around females, my thoughts and reasonings abandoned logic. Anyhow, I didn't follow through on that. I had a couple interested agents, had a couple model searches, but nothing of fruition ever developed. Next, I decided that to fix my ailing looks and love life, I should start lifting weights to increase my curb appeal to females. I ended up finding my way to stripping as a way to garner female attention and approval, which worked on the surface, yet did nothing to mend the inner wounds exacted upon me by a bloodthirsty gynocentric world. By this time, however, I was so jaded from female abuse and manipulation and knee-deep in my red pill awakening that I did not carelessly enjoy the frivolities of a Magic Mike Chippendale paycheck. I used every opportunity to manipulate females as some proxy revenge for all the males whom females have abused and discarded throughout the centuries. I sought to fight fire with fire. Since females manipulated with sexuality, I too manipulated with sexuality. I experienced both ends in life, from a prostrated, pandering, simpering, begging male looking for female acknowledgement to a male who had females chase and pursue him, begging him for acknowledgement. I will elucidate this more in another video. Yet, for a time, I was stuck in a purple pill purgatory, still wanting to believe in romance, female altruism, and benevolence, of at least one special unicorn somewhere out there. So I decided that I would act, because I would show the world I was more than a cog in a machine, more than a disposable Kleenex. And besides, if I was famous, no matter how ugly I was, I could get supermodels all day long. And though that would not cure my inner hurts, it would be some really nice bandages for a minute or two. Upon this epiphany, I grabbed a few clothes, a few $100, and headed out to LA in a Volkswagen Beetle that I ended up living in. Then, through a series of events, I was led away from California and sequestered to continue my MGTOW journey, working to receive my official red pill status. Nearly everything I've embarked upon has been as a remedy for the failing self-esteem and gaping inner wounds from not being able to garner attention and approval from females. I had decided long ago that I failed to glean romance and female validation because I was ugly and physically and aesthetically undesirable. If I was better looking, more physically appealing, then females would acknowledge my existence, and then all would be made right with the world. Brad Pitt never had problems with female attention or approval, right? Different males bury their confusion over female hypergamy in different avenues. Some focus on building wealth to increase their curb appeal. Some focus on pampering servitude and defensive protection of women from anything as a way to prove their worth to females and maybe get a pat on the head. Me, I put my eggs in the basket of I was not hot enough, and if I was, females might just give me a pat on the head once in a while. All my pursuits have been fueled by pain, not passion. Pain from the human male plight. We are all alone, and nobody is coming to save us. This is utterly terrifying. Male pain and suffering comes from trying to seek solace and absolution from this existence through females, only to find that there is no respite or salvation through females. There never has been. If you have a Y chromosome, it's you, and that's it. And my pain came from chasing fantastic yarns of romance and female benevolence, yet never finding that one special unicorn who had a key around her neck specifically fashioned to unlock these shackles around mine. I tried laboring to make myself more physically attractive and appealing, and aimed high for celebrity status so females would chase me no matter what I looked like. I was ignorant at the time, indeed for most of my life, to the reality of male disposability. I foolishly labored under the idea that I had no individual worth. Moreover, that romance and female benevolence existed. Yeah, I know. Silly wabbit. I suffered because of a blatant, lifelong lack of female affection, and I beat myself down into the ground daily. Yes, absolutely daily. Sometimes hourly, if the smile I flashed at an attractive female in the store was not returned in kind. I cannot convey the brutality of the abuse I heaped upon my inner child and loved ones because I failed to receive female approval and reprieve from my wretched state of male aloneness. What a cruel, criminal act! Males that beat themselves and their beauty, their brilliance into oblivion because of societal male devaluation. It is unthinkable seeing males pound their worth into nothingness because they can't make this fairy tale a reality. They sully their value because they can't make Puff the Magic Dragon a reality, despite all the songs and movies and fairy tales they have been fed. Males abuse themselves and other males over fairy tales. This is a crime against life itself, against God, against nature, whichever you prefer. Thus, I watch males attack themselves trying to uncover the reason they are naturally worthless and disgusting and why females ignore them. This is intolerable, a tragedy against our men and boys. Yet this is real, and it is happening right now, this very second, and every second of every day around the world. I have literally been driving and simply pulled into a store parking lot so I could cry over my pain at being a raping, murdering, plundering male, an unwanted, worthless, expendable tool that females detest. Oh, I have intimate experience with gynocentrism's indoctrination of males as worthless, incomplete beasts whose only salvation lies within chance. If one of these benevolent angels saves you from your wretched male status and cures you with their holy touch, heals you with their divine pure kiss. But guess what, guys? You were never broken to begin with. You never needed any healing kiss of any female to fix you. You already have all the promise of God's built into you. You have come complete. And then you are broken by a misandristic environment. You are broken by the very entities that advise themselves as your salvation, the other half of your heart, your soulmates. You do not come from the factory with only half a heart. You are whole and healthy to start with. This is a well-documented tactic. Some call it false flag, others a false dilemma. The gist is you create urgency where there is calm. You create drama where none exists in order to effect some desired result that you veil within subterfuge. Such false flag operations surround nearly every war throughout history. Enact a false attack in order to justify war when none is called for. Male deficiency and incompleteness is such a false flag to create doubt and worry where none should be. If males were empowered, then gynocentrism would falter, and this world that is based and maintained upon male blood, sweat, and tears, on male disposability, this world would utterly collapse in the absence of sacrificing male lives for female welfare. We brainwash males into believing themselves worthless, deviant, evil, disgusting, even cursed, so that they may, like the greyhounds chasing the lure around the track, chase this lure of romance and absolution through the divine feminine, which keeps them producing for and protecting a gynocentric species and way of life. We create a false flag to keep males chasing the female carrot, while everybody usurps utility from them until they die. Gynocentrism creates a false dilemma. We brainwash clean hands into believing themselves dirty, in desperate need of cleansing with our special gynocentrism brand vagina soap. And as males spend their lives chasing fake lures in a pixelated illusion, the matrix of societal devaluation and disposability, meanwhile in reality we siphon off their body heat to fuel the mechanizations of their enslavement. How brilliant is that? We create a false dilemma and cause them to chase an unattainable carrot. Meanwhile, in the real world, we siphon off their labor, their money, their life force, powering the very societies and governmental institutions that compel their subjugations to females in the first place, compounded by males' already overpowering procreative instincts. Males are like beautiful, flawless, irreplaceable mirrors, broken and shattered by others after you leave the store. Then you spend the rest of your days looking for the right repair woman to fix your mirror as good as new. Yet all they can ever do is administer bubblegum and scotch tape to the broken shards in attempts to temporarily hold the shards together and retain some semblance of a complete mirror. And when that repair woman quits, you search for another, then another, and still another. Eventually, you realize through epiphany that you are the only one who can repair what a cruel gynocentric society has shattered. Only you. No female can heal you, rescue you, nor offer you salvation. The indoctrination process of males, which leads to insecurity and incompleteness, is an insidious process. We labor so intricately and diligently to break male spirits so they will take a saddle and that uncomfortable bit into their mouth. We begin in their very first few days of life by hacking up their precious anatomy. Then we continue this devaluation till the day these disposable shovels die. Because of this, I understand why males will never rise above gynocentrism. I understand why Cypher deals with Agent Smith to get plugged back into the Matrix. Reality is painful. Illusion is familiar, comfortable, like a security blanket. I understand this. The things I have done pursuing the female carrot embarrass me and horrify me even to this day. I broke my leg twice in the gym pursuing increased musculature so that maybe females would notice me and pat my desperately malnourished soul on the head with a couple good boy praises. Yes, the purpose of these reflections is to point out that I do understand blue and purple pill status, and I am so hard on these complicit manginas and white knights out of care for them. I know the indoctrination that chokes them. I have intimate experience and empathy for all males. This is from a place of compassion that I say, wake the frick up. Romance is fairy tale. Female benevolence and altruism is farce. Wake up and see it for yourself. Even as the sun sets each day on this planet of trial and tribulation, I understand why males cannot rise above the abuse of the female carrot. I understand, and I am saddened by your torment, but I will not enable your romantic dreams or fictions of female altruism. I must focus on helping to liberate others. I will be here when the blue and purple pillars need support and awakening. Although I get angry at manginas and white knights, I am aware that they are simply abused victims identifying with their abusers, their captors, their slave masters, their victimizers. Males have been criminally broken and brainwashed into seeking female attention, affection, and approval. In the face of such male destruction through disposability, I often wonder if fighting gynocentrism is even worth it. Obviously it is, but will it affect any good for future males? The entire lot of we liberated males decrying gynocentrism, do we have any effect? We may free a couple 2 or 3 males here and there from the clutches of the vaginisty, yet this seems to be a pale pittance in juxtaposition to the millions of fresh new males born every day, plugged into slavery every day on this spinning rock. By helping other men, we will effect the revolution that is so desperately needed by males. We do not engage in a futile uphill battle. We few awakened males here are doing good. I am reminded of a story where a man stands on the beach observing another man walking along the shoreline, picking up starfish and throwing them back into the sea after they had been stranded on the shore by the tide. So the observer asks the man what he is doing. I'm throwing starfish back into the sea. They're stranded and will die if not returned to the water. Yeah, but there are tens of thousands of starfish, the observer concludes while looking around him on the beach. You can't possibly make any overall difference. The Good Samaritan held out the starfish he had just picked up and said, well, it makes a big difference to him. This brings perspective. Everything we do to help liberate other males is absolutely worth it. Focusing on numbers of indoctrinated versus liberated is the wrong approach. Helping just one prisoner slip under the fence at Auschwitz is better than not helping any. For every male I can compel to think, for every male I help in some way retrieve their power, their worth, that is a victory for us all. That is a victory for justice itself. Helping a single precious male out of solitary confinement, helping just a single male to stand after kneeling for so long, that makes my entire life of pain and torment worth it. And as liberated males help other males find liberation, 2 turns into 4, turns into 8, and healing begins to swell, and we begin to rise as the phoenix to proclaim our sovereignty, our power, our infinite worth. Saving one male from another day of anguish, releasing the shackles around a single man's ankle, saving a single male from suicide. This warrants everything I do to educate males about male devaluation and disposability, gynocentrism, and hypergamy, and justifies my passionate labor to liberate all males from suffering. Wildfire liberation of abused males may not reach critical mass in our lifetimes. But we, gentlemen, right here, right now, we have the most important charge of all. We lay the foundation for revolution. We are the most important part of male liberation. We are the trailblazers, the forerunners. I get chills just being part of this forming hurricane. This is a time for the broken and downtrodden to rise up. This is our time. The broken and abused have exaltation of purpose, and we curry favor with the fates of inequity. We are fueled by righteous anger, and we err on the side of compassion for the bruised and broken. And after the dust settles, justice will find us standing. We will still be standing in flagrant defiance. Altruism will rightly bow to our incalculable sacrifices. Our species may never truly abandon or overcome the apoptosis of male life induced by misandristic gynocentrism and the malevolence of the vaginisty. But what we are doing for males is invaluable beyond anybody's comprehensions of its efficacy. I am proud to be amongst such brilliant, enlightened males, so robust of purpose, driven by compassion for the suffering of other males. I am honored to be enriched by the works of other MGTOWs. There are so many amazing warriors here that I continue to be inspired by. There are so many heroes, and I am honored to be amongst every last one of you in our fight against the vaginisty, against gynocentrism, against male devaluation, and against male disposability. Males, you do not need females. You are beautiful and you are whole all by yourself. We are right. We do matter so much more than anybody can even fathom. My friends, stand with me, live free.